All right, what's up, everyone? Today we got X-Men '97 Season 2 review. Um, as you can see, a little bit of a setup change. Just trying to keep things, fresh, change some things up, make it look more appealing. I gotta say, I'm really loving the show. As someone who's been, like, basically a casual X-Men fan, I've been a fan of Marvel for, a good chunk of my life now. I feel like X-Men, I guess just because, like, in, like, mainstream like media and stuff. They've been putting out movies over the years, but I feel like most of them weren't very good, other than like Logan or like First Class, Days of Future Past, and then you have like the original movies. But I just feel like they weren't as easy to connect with as other Marvel characters around the those times. I would like watch those movies and be like, yeah, that was like okay, it was like fun, but I would never actually I'm not really clamoring for the next X-Men thing, but I think this show, and after watching Spider-Man and, you know, knowing the future is going to be X-Men because Kevin Feige said that, I'm more excited about them probably more than ever. We got that Wolverine game coming out in like September, so I'm definitely going to be playing that. Also, as someone who never watched the original X-Men show in the from the 90s, I think it does a good job at not making you feel like for new people to not be feel left out. Because obviously, even from the first season, it just jumps into a lot of like heavy and a lot of big stuff, even some like deep cuts from like the comics and stuff like that. But it also still lets the newbies like me understand what's happening on a bigger scale. Like in the new season, it's all about Apocalypse. Because at the end of the first season, obviously, he gets teased, and so it's just basically them dealing with that. At the beginning of the season, the team, they're all split up between like past, present, and future, and they're all trying to figure out ways to regroup, and also they know that Apocalypse is something they have to deal with. So that's like a good chunk of the season, and then obviously when you watch it, there will be a lot of big reveals towards the end, a lot of good stuff, a lot of sad stuff. But I think also what I like about this show is the X Men don't feel like it always feels like they're one step behind the villains, because like especially with Apocalypse, they can't really brute force their way through it. Even though there's a lot of really strong X Men, he's just like on another level, and I think having it feel like they can't just run in there and just like uppercut him and take him out, and it's just like over. I think at least the stuff I've seen, the X-Men definitely use a lot more strategy than say like the Avengers, because I feel like in those movies, I mean, they have some strategy, maybe like in Infinity War they were making plans and Endgame and stuff, but overall I think it was just mainly just like we're gonna punch our way through this and figure it out. But I thought Apocalypse was done well. I saw the Oscar Isaac version. I thought he was fine. He didn't really do much. But Apocalypse is like actually genuinely frightening, to my last point where it feels like the X-Men, it seems like they've got a good plan, it seems like things are working out, but he's always one step ahead, or he just always gets the upper hand due to his like strength or his connections or stuff like that. So it's just crazy, and like the time traveling I think they handled well, like all the time jumps and the amount of time they give to each time period, because I feel like they either could have rushed it just to be like, okay, we have to get back to the apocalypse stuff, like people, that's what people want, or it could have been way too long and overdone. But I think they got the right amount of time in each time period, and the writing is good too. There's like some corny jokes in there, like especially from like Wolverine saying, two birds, one stone, or just stuff like that, and it actually works. That's also due to like the voice actors, but the animation is just also amazing because you can tell how much like detail and love is put into like every shot. And I was like thinking about like the Invincible uh the Invincible stuff where people were complaining about the animation being bad. And I'm not going to defend the animation. I enjoy the show, but I do think when you watch a show like X-Men '97 and then you watch the newest season of Invincible, you're like, oh yeah, it's so different, and it's the same amount of. Oh, it's one more episode. Invincible is usually 8, and this is 9. Well, it's like 9, like 30-minute episodes, and Invincible is like 8, like 40 to 50-minute episodes. And that was another thing because the first season was 10 episodes and this one's only 9. And so by the last episode, it was kind of like, how are they going to wrap this up? Like, genuinely, because obviously the stakes are still pretty high. They haven't really figured out a way to take care of the situation. But I think they wrapped it up nicely. I think, again, since I'm not too versed in the comics, like this, I'm sure the thing that happened at the end is right over my head. Like, I don't understand really what happened or like whatever this character was or whatever. But overall, I enjoyed it. There's a post-credit scene on the last episode setting up the new season because I think the third season's already confirmed and maybe the fourth one. Yeah, I think going forward, the show is just gonna probably keep getting better. Hopefully, I just saw there's a new Reacher season that just came out, so I'm gonna start watching that. Get some reviews out for that. And yeah, X-Men '97 season 2, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. The story wrapped up nicely. Probably not as well as I would have liked, honestly. The team is really good. All the X-Men, Cyclops, Storm, Jean, everyone. Cyclops. He's probably becoming my favorite Marvel character other than Spider-Man. Yeah, overall, if you enjoyed the first season, you're probably gonna enjoy this. And yeah, so let me know down below. Did you see X-Men '97 season 2? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.